The small town of Ashwood was known for its quiet streets, cobblestone roads, and the Grand Ashwood Museum, which stood proudly at the center of town. The museum was famous for its rare artifacts and historical treasures, curated by the enigmatic Mr. Alistair Graves, a man of few words but immense knowledge. One chilly October evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mr. Graves was found unconscious in his office. The glass case containing the museum's most prized possession, the ancient emerald amulet of Ashwood, was shattered, and the amulet was gone. The town was in shock. The amulet, said to have been worn by a queen centuries ago, was not only priceless, but also rumored to be cursed. The police were baffled. There were no signs of forced entry, and the security cameras had mysteriously malfunctioned. Enter Detective Eleanor Hart, a sharp and methodical investigator known for her ability to solve the most perplexing cases. She arrived in Ashwood the next morning, her keen eyes scanning the scene for clues. Eleanor began her investigation by interviewing the museum staff. The first to speak was Mrs. Clara Finch, the museum's archivist. "Mr. Graves was acting strangely the past few days," she said. "He kept muttering about the amulet's curse and how it needed to be protected." Next, Eleanor spoke to Tom, the security guard. "I didn't see or hear anything unusual," he said. "But I did notice that Mr. Graves had been spending a lot of time in the storage room lately." The storage room. Eleanor made a mental note to check it later. She then turned her attention to Mr. Graves himself, who had regained consciousness but was still too weak to speak. On his desk, she found a cryptic note written in his handwriting. "The key lies in the collection." The collection. Eleanor knew the museum housed hundreds of artifacts, but what could the note mean? She decided to explore the storage room, where the less prominent items were kept. The room was dimly lit, filled with dusty shelves and crates. As Eleanor sifted through the items, she noticed something unusual: a small, ornate box hidden beneath a stack of old documents. Inside the box was a key and a folded piece of paper. The paper contained a list of names and dates, all connected to the museum's history. One name stood out: Dr. Evelyn Carter, 1923. Eleanor recalled seeing that name in the museum's records. Dr. Carter had been a historian who had worked at the museum decades ago. Eleanor decided to dig deeper. She visited the town's library and found an old newspaper article from 1923. It detailed the mysterious disappearance of Dr. Carter, who had been researching the emerald amulet at the time. The article mentioned that Dr. Carter had believed the amulet was part of a larger collection of artifacts, all linked to an ancient secret society. Back at the museum, Eleanor used the key she had found to unlock a hidden compartment in the storage room. Inside, she discovered a journal belonging to Dr. Carter. The journal revealed that the amulet was one of 5 artifacts, each holding a piece of a map that led to a hidden treasure. As Eleanor pieced together the clues, she realized that Mr. Graves had been trying to protect the amulet from falling into the wrong hands. The attack on him was no random act. It was the work of someone who knew the amulet's true value. Eleanor's suspicions fell on the museum's newest employee, a young man named Victor Lane, who had joined the staff just a week before the theft. Victor had a history of working at other museums that had experienced similar thefts. Confronting Victor, Eleanor presented her evidence. Caught off guard, Victor confessed. He had been hired by a wealthy collector to steal the amulet and had staged the attack on Mr. Graves to cover his tracks. With Victor in custody and the amulet recovered, Eleanor returned it to the museum. Mr. Graves, now recovering, thanked her profusely. "You've not only solved the mystery, but also uncovered a piece of history," he said. As for the other artifacts mentioned in Dr. Carter's journal, Eleanor knew her work was far from over. But for now, the town of Ashwood could rest easy, knowing that the curator's collection was safe once more. And so, the legend of the emerald amulet lived on, its secrets guarded by those who understood its true worth.